What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk about Rezolve AI. I want to go over some of the data points, some key levels you need to really watch for, and what the SEC is doing to really continue the manipulation in the broader market. So I want to go over all of that, but first make sure to hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So I'm filming this during the pre-market, so at the time of doing this video, Rezolve is down 0.38%. Nothing too crazy. The market is digesting two pieces of data, so challenger job cuts, which came in at 71,000, forecast of 98, and then initial jobless claims of 191 versus a forecast of 220. So in both cases, it's actually positive. So far that hasn't really diminished the likelihood of a cut, so that's a good thing. So right now there's a 89.2% likelihood of a 25 basis point cut. As I've mentioned, in theory, just because of everything, Rezolve does get moved through algorithmic trading. So this is why I'm bringing up American data, because I don't really do that much in kind of business in the States just yet. Of course, with some of the recent news, they will be changing that hopefully soon. But one thing that did just come out was this right here. So Rezolve AI to participate in upcoming investor events, fireside chat, and so that's going to be at Maxim and Northland. So it looks like all the actual ratings, the firms that have given Rezolve ratings, are linked to just them doing fireside chats. So I don't know if there's some correlation with that, but it does look like December the 8th and December the 16th, that's when these two fireside chats are going to kind of go through. So hopefully that's a positive, or maybe some new updates are dropped. But it does look like Rezolve is kind of going down that whole PR blitz standpoint. They have done 3 consecutive PRs in a row. So December the 1st, yesterday, and today. Yesterday's news was this right here. So it's just kind of clarifying the whole recent acquisition of Crown-Peak. So I personally see this still very gray. They are kind of mentioned right here that there has been more than 1 billion in Tether transactions, or I guess Tether and Bitcoin, but that has been through Brazil. So for whatever reason, it doesn't logically make sense. They have really struggled to enter into the States, but with Elizabeth and possibly Crown-Peak, that could be changing fairly soon. That's something I'll be really listening for in these upcoming fireside chats, is to from Dan to say that, hey, we are entering in the States through blah blah. So that's going to be a pretty good catalyst if you ask me. Shorts. So pre-market shorts are already increasing about 70,000 shares. So today it's going to be a fairly active day for them. 7.08% at the free float is being shorted. Works out to be 11.02 million shares. So shorts, whoever is kind of shorting Rezolve, they know their stuff. I've brought this up in the past. They know how to strategically, with almost pinpoint accuracy, kill the momentum all the time. So this is something, again, just to kind of pay attention to. But there is some manipulation that's happening across the board in the broader market. And so a lot of people generally always look at these. So these are 13Fs, kind of discloses positions, and primarily it's always long positions. Anyone who is shorting a stock, they do not have to voluntarily disclose it on 13Fs. So that is crazy, just saying that out loud, that you only have to disclose possibly one side of your trade. You don't have to disclose any short position. So you can already just, again, saying that out loud, how easy it is for a lot of big institutions to manipulate the market. One hopeful thing that was going to originally come out was the new SEC transparency rule. Kind of was adopted and kind of implemented in 2023, or at least the beginning stages, and then it got pushed back to late 2024, 2025, first half 2026. But because of what was announced yesterday through Twitter, mind you, just said today the SEC extended the compliance dates for rules 13F-2 and rule 10C-1A. What does that ultimately mean, you are asking? Very good question. So if we kind of scroll through this, I highlighted these two sections. So part of the 13F component, that would force institutions to disclose their short position. That has now been pushed back to January 2nd, 2028. And so that is very close to when now people will be starting to focus on elections. So this timing is and was done on purpose. So they don't want this to ever come out. ever. And that's just my opinion, of course. Hopefully it does. Because if you think about it, this would be a natural deterrent to anyone shorting any stock. Nobody wants to be villainized and be seen as the big bad citadel, right? So they would return prior to this being adopted. But with it now being pushed back to January 2nd, that most likely is never going to come to fruition. And then you also did have for the loan component that being pushed back to March 29th, 2029. So again, it is fair to assume that none of this will ever see the light of day. So the SEC is being very much compliant in allowing the market to continue crazy manipulation. So just wanted to kind of bring that up. Aside from that, though, you did have mixed results yesterday for institutional transactions. So far, nothing significant this morning. On the dark pool, we are seeing one transaction, and that is 499,000, but it eerily does match with this right here. So short. So again, this is a pretty good early kind of viewpoint of what shorts are doing. So it looks like they were shorting at 752. So around about 20 minutes ago, they did that one transaction. A couple of key points to watch for with it at 261. It is trading between this S1 and this S2. So 231, it's going to be a strong support. Luckily enough, it has not been touched for a while now. And then 271 followed by 337. That'll be the next strong support and resistance points. So in my opinion, for today, it really needs to get above that 271. Aside from all of that fun stuff popping over here, the chart doesn't look that great. It is below that 10-day moving average, so signaling that momentum is kind of going down, so not the greatest. But if we look at the flow right here, you see a lot of smaller transactions, so that is largely linked to algorithmic trading. So I wouldn't really count Rezolve down and out just yet, because if you think about it, it won't really take too much for it to really move higher. It just needs that nice gentle push. There hasn't really been any new analyst ratings, but as I've mentioned, pretty much all of these firms right here, like they actually do those fireside chats. So Maxim, which again is right here, so they'll probably be giving a new rating alongside H.C. Wainwright and so forth and so forth. So let me know your general thoughts on Rezolve. Are you buying? Are you selling? What's your viewpoint, for instance, on that new transparency rule being pushed back? Do you think are you surprised by it? What's your kind of viewpoint on that? And then one final thing, if you're looking for some solid on-point buy signals on stocks, options, crypto, pop over to my Stacked account. I have a lot of different tiers, and one is just swing trades. So I like to choose some kind of stocks that are flying under the radar and they don't really get manipulated, so they are on point. So definitely worthwhile to pop over there and check that out. So I did recently lower this pricing, and so that'll be more of a promotion. So sign up while you can. Link in the description below and also the comments. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.